Hello and welcome to the Scroll of Uplift. Today we are talking about practicing forgiveness, not in a rushed or forced way, not as something you must do immediately, but as a process that unfolds over time at your own pace in a way that supports your healing, your clarity, and your sense of peace. Forgiveness is something many people think they understand until they're the one who has to practice it. It doesn't always feel clear. It doesn't always feel natural. And sometimes it feels like holding on is easier than letting go. Not because you want to carry the weight, but because you're not sure how to release it yet. Forgiveness isn't rushed. It isn't forced. It unfolds gradually. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. Some people think it means forgetting what happened. Some think it means excusing someone's behavior. Some think it means immediately feeling okay again. But forgiveness is not about any of those things. Forgiveness is about releasing the hold that an experience has on you. It is about creating space within yourself to move forward without carrying the same emotional weight. It is about choosing your peace, even when the past was painful, confusing, or unfair. And most importantly, forgiveness is not something you owe anyone else. It is something you choose for yourself. There are moments in life when you are hurt by someone's actions, by their words, or by their absence. These moments can leave a lasting impact. They can influence how you think, how you feel, and how you respond to the world around you. Sometimes the pain is obvious. Other times, it is quiet. It shows up as tension. It shows up as hesitation. It shows up as a sense of heaviness you cannot fully explain. And over time, if that pain is not processed, it can become something you carry with you, something that affects your present, even though it belongs to your past. This is where forgiveness becomes important, not because it erases what happened, but because it changes your relationship with what happened. The first step in practicing forgiveness is acknowledgement. Acknowledging what you experienced. Acknowledging how it affected you. Acknowledging that it mattered. This step is essential because forgiveness does not begin with minimizing the experience. It does not begin with pretending everything is fine. It begins with honesty. What happened? How did it make you feel? What impact did it have on you? You are allowed to answer these questions truthfully. You are allowed to recognize that something hurt you. You are allowed to take that seriously. Many people skip this step because they want to move on quickly. They want to feel better right away. They want to avoid sitting with discomfort. But healing requires presence. It requires giving yourself the space to feel and understand your experience before trying to release it. Without acknowledgement, forgiveness becomes surface level. With acknowledgement, it becomes real. Another important part of this process is understanding that forgiveness is not immediate. It is not a single decision. It is something that unfolds gradually. There may be moments where you feel ready to let go, and other moments where the emotions return. This does not mean you are failing. It means you are processing. Healing is not linear. You may revisit certain feelings more than once. Each time you do, you have an opportunity to respond differently, with more awareness, more clarity, and more self-support. This is how forgiveness deepens over time. It is also important to understand that forgiveness does not require reconciliation. You do not have to reconnect with someone in order to forgive them. You do not have to re-enter a situation that was harmful in order to prove that you have moved on. Forgiveness and boundaries can exist together. In fact, they often should. You can release resentment and still choose distance. You can let go of anger and still protect your space. You can move forward and still decide what is no longer acceptable in your life. This is not contradiction. This is clarity. Practicing forgiveness also involves shifting your focus from what someone else did to how you choose to respond moving forward. You cannot change the past. You cannot control someone else's behavior, but you can decide what you carry forward. And this decision matters because holding on to resentment can keep you connected to the experience in a way that continues to affect you. It can influence your mood, your thoughts, your relationships. It can shape how you interpret new situations. Letting go does not mean the experience was acceptable. It means you are choosing not to let it define your present or your future. Another key part of practicing forgiveness is self-compassion. There may be moments where you question your own role in the situation. You may think, I should have known better. I should have handled it differently. I should have seen the signs. These thoughts are common, but they are not always helpful. You made decisions based on what you knew at the time. You responded based on your awareness, your experience, and your capacity in that moment. You are allowed to learn from the past without punishing yourself for it. Self-compassion is what allows you to move forward without carrying unnecessary guilt. It supports healing. It creates space for growth. Forgiveness also includes forgiving yourself for the times you ignored your own needs, for the times you doubted yourself. This is an important part of the process because your relationship with yourself matters just as much as your relationship with others. As you practice forgiveness, you may begin to notice small changes. You may feel lighter in certain moments. You may think about the situation less often. You may feel less reactive when it comes to mind. These are signs of progress. They may feel subtle, but they are meaningful. Forgiveness is not about reaching a perfect state of peace. It is about gradually reducing the intensity of what you carry. It is about creating more space within yourself. It is about allowing yourself to experience the present without being constantly pulled back into the past. Another helpful aspect of forgiveness is perspective. Not in a way that justifies what happened, but in a way that broadens your understanding. Sometimes people act from their own limitations, their own unprocessed experiences, or their own lack of awareness. This does not excuse their behavior, but it can help you see that their actions are not a reflection of your worth. They are a reflection of their own state. This distinction is important because it helps you release the idea that what happened defines you. It does not. You are not defined by how someone treated you. You are defined by how you choose to move forward. Forgiveness also becomes easier when you focus on what you want to create in your life now. What kind of relationships do you want? What kind of energy do you want to experience daily? What kind of environment supports your growth? When your focus shifts toward building something positive, it becomes easier to let go of what no longer serves that vision. This does not happen instantly, but it happens gradually as your attention moves forward. There is also value in simple practices that support this process. You might take a few minutes to reflect each day. You might write down what you are ready to release. You might remind yourself of what you deserve moving forward. These small actions create consistency, and consistency supports emotional change over time. As you continue practicing forgiveness, it is important to be patient with yourself. You do not need to rush. You do not need to force a feeling that is not yet present. You only need to stay open to the process. Stay willing to release a little more when you are ready. Stay committed to your own peace. And remember that forgiveness is something you practice, not something you achieve once and are done with. It evolves. It deepens. It becomes easier with time and awareness. As you move through your day, you can ask yourself, what am I still holding on to that no longer supports me? What am I ready to release, even in a small way? What would it feel like to carry a little less emotional weight today? Let these questions guide you gently, not with pressure, but with intention. That is enough. Thank you for sharing this moment of time with me today. If this scroll resonated with you, feel free to like and subscribe for more. And before you go, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What is one thing you are ready to release, even just a little, as part of your forgiveness process? Your peace is becoming stronger. Your awareness is expanding. And your ability to let go is growing, one step at a time. You are allowed to move forward. You are allowed to heal. And you are allowed to create a life that feels lighter, clearer, and more aligned with who you are becoming.